you're watching Fat Man DD1, you dingus. Whatever he said.
This is your boy Fat Man. Okay, so the biggest thing that's happening right now is people are talking about April O'Neil and if she was whitewashed. Actually, she wasn't whitewashed, which is pretty okay and pretty cool. But if you ask the creators, they'll give you their own different opinions. Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird. So we're gonna just dive into this. This is the article. It's from Screen Rant. It's pretty old, maybe 2020, right? Right now, if you bump into the creators at comic conventions, if they still can attend, because they're both pretty old, and you ask them, what did they depict April as? They're going to give you their answer. Peter Lorre said she was kind of Asian, but had a black sounding name. Kevin Eastman will be like, she's depicted off of his last wife, or she's kind of depicted off of whatever idea they had, but a mixed race woman. That is actually quoted in this article through Peter Lorre. So we're going to dive into this and we're just going to go through it. Now, we can go through the rest of the article, but we'll have timestamps to when I actually prove the point that it doesn't actually matter about her race. It doesn't, and she was never whitewashed, which is even more important. But for us as the fan base, if we want to think of her as black, we can think of her as black. If we want to think of her as white, you can think of her as white. But it does matter that her first depictions, yes, she was a more whiter woman, but then she was given more of a darker skin tone when she was kind of colored in, but she was also looking a little more darker depending on the black and white pages, for, I guess, shadows. So just move into this article. It's a little old, it's dated. We're like, this is 3 years ago, but let's dive into it.
There's an old saying, too proud to whitewash and too poor to paint.
Okay.
In recent years, the term whitewash has been repurposed to represent any of a variety of forms of censorship.
I never heard of this saying. I'm not even gonna lie to you right now. Is that even real?
Most frequently the covering up or reinventing characters of color as Caucasian. Conscientious comic book readers often cite April O'Neil from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as an example of this controversial practice.
Yeah.
Others deny the claim. With compelling evidence on both sides, the question remains, was April O'Neil's original ethnicity whitewashed?
Honestly, it was not whitewashed. So her originals, I'm gonna show pictures on the side next to me. Her original photos were basically what she looked like next to Baxter Stockman. In the full original first book, he's actually black. So he was animated to be a white dude. So that kind of shows you what they've did in the animated series. But then when it came to the 2002 Ninja Turtles, he was black. So he was more on accurate like comic depiction from the comic book. So Baxter Stockman's always been black, but they've kind of changed and altered his character, and then they made him black again. So they kind of stick with it. I think the 2002 version of Ninja Turtles was the consistent that character's ever been. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But April is different. She was white, and then she was kind of given more darker looking colors for some reason, depending on who was drawing or coloring it. Now, Peter Laird, and Kevin Eastman both says it was kind of miscommunication with the publishing and when it came to the cartoon, a lot of miscommunication, which goes back and forth on how they should give the character color and how they were kind of debating on it. But at the same time, this fucking thing was finished. So let's continue.
April O'Neil first appeared in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #2 in 1984 as the assistant to the evil scientist, Baxter Stockman.
True.
Later, she would become a close ally of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and
true.
Casey Jones' love interest.
Yep.
While the comic book's black and white interior makes April's ethnicity hard to discern, the cover of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #11 depicts O'Neil as a light-skinned woman of color with black curly hair.
That's right there.
Co-creator Kevin Eastman admitted that O'Neil's appearance was based on his then-girlfriend April Fisher, herself a woman of mixed race.
So people said this is not true, but we're going to play this one more time for the rest of you bitches out there.
Co-creator Kevin Eastman admitted that O'Neil's appearance was based on his then-girlfriend April Fisher, herself a woman of mixed race.
So her appearance was based off of his then ex-girlfriend. Appearance. They don't mention that her race, but just her regular appearance in general. That's perfectly fine. A lot of artists and creators take from their surroundings to create. So this is perfectly okay. He doesn't mention that she was supposed to be a full one-to-one copy, but her appearance was based off of his ex-girlfriend. That's fine. That is perfectly fine. Now, who she was a mixed race woman, so like Puerto Rican, Dominican, or Puerto Rican black, that type of mixed race woman. I'm okay with that. Her appearance, we don't get anything else. Her appearance was based off of her, but we don't get anything else. And her name. So appearance and name. So April Fisher from April O'Neil. So there we go. But we don't get the character being mixed race. So there we go. And this is true. It's in the article. It's written down. Kevin has said this.
Claims of whitewashing first surfaced in 1986 when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 1-11 were reprinted in color, and April appeared as a Caucasian woman with red hair.
So this did show up again. So we have what April looks like now. And then, so we have April on the side on what she looked like in that first issue 11, right? That's kind of the rad look. And that's how she was depicted in that cover. And even in the book, she got a perm. That is her perm. It does say in the book that she got a perm, which does line her up with Kevin's ex-girlfriend. But then April does lose the perm. Let's continue.
In 1986, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles co-creators Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird made deals with Playmates Toys and Murakami Wolf Swenson Productions. Playmates would create a line of action figures based on the property, and Murakami Wolf Swenson would produce a cartoon promoting them. When the hit animated television show debuted in 1987, April again appeared pale-skinned and red-headed.
Okay, that's perfectly fine. Now, are they going to explain, hey, this is how she was depicted in the cartoon? This is how the creator signed off on it? Because usually these type of things don't go past the creator's decision. Hey, she was described to be this in the books. Did we give her red hair? But we seen her in color and she kind of had more of a brownish hair, more of a light brown. It was kind of reddish, but didn't look red, you know what I'm saying? So they gave her more of that brownish reddish hair. So you see the classic cartoon April, which was the hot April that everyone loved, jumpsuit April.
Speculation mounted that Eastman and Laird had been pressured to whitewash April in the colorized comic book reprints to tie in with her upcoming cartoon portrayal.
Which is not true. They were not pressured to do that. And it goes into detail.
When Judith Hoag was cast as O'Neill in the 1990 film adaptation, the character's appearance was cemented. The Black April gave way to an Irish April and would not return for 32 years.
So the Black April gave an appearance to the Irish April, which we did get the Irish April O'Neil. So we did get that. So that was cemented. So when the live action came out, April O'Neil was highly cemented to be that version, which it happens. So that's okay. There's a live action version of April O'Neil.
Eastman and Laird watched their self-published comic book evolve into a multimedia empire. Devoted fans of the reptilian ninjas have argued that April O'Neil's ethnic identity is less a case of whitewashing and more a result of miscommunication.
Perfect. Case is not a case of whitewashing. It's a case of fucking communication. It says it right there. Miscommunication. That's all it is. There's nothing more to this. There's no race swapping. There's no racism. Just a form of miscommunication. Boom. And we could play that again for the rest of y'all.
Devoted fans of the reptilian ninjas have argued that April O'Neil's ethnic identity is less a case of whitewashing and more a result of miscommunication. In 2002 single quote STMNT, Autobiography, Kevin Eastman explained that April was originally created as an Asian character in Pete's Notes, but named after an African-American woman I once knew. Conversely,
okay, that's fine. In the 2000s, they basically went over this that, hey, she was supposed to be Asian, but she was given an African-American name that Pete knew. That's fine. I'm okay with that. It ain't too crazy. African woman name that Pete knew. That's fine. That's fine. I ain't got a problem with that. But these are concepts and ideas that they go through.
Laird addressed the subject by saying, "It depends on which co-creator of the TMNT you ask."
Oh, one more time. One more time for the rest of you bitches in the back.
Laird addressed the subject by saying, "It depends on which co-creator of the TMNT you ask."
It depends on which co-creator of the fucking Turtles you ask. They're both going to give you different answers. Which is okay if they do give you different answers, which I'm okay with that. Give me a different answer. I don't really care at this point because if she's black, she's black. If she's white, she's white. If she's Irish, black, white, fucking whatever, and she just looks light as all hell, I don't give a fuck as long as she's just a good character.
If you ask me, I always saw April O'Neil as white.
Okay.
If you ask Kevin, I suspect he would say, as he has in a number of interviews, that she was of mixed race, much like his former girlfriend, then wife, then ex-wife, April. This disagreement would explain the inconsistency of April's appearance and provide a less nefarious explanation for her subsequent race change.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. So basically, one more time for y'all. One more time.
If you ask me, I always saw April O'Neil as white.
So if you ask Peter, he says, I always saw April as white. He always saw April as white. If you ask him, he always saw it. But he goes on to say,
If you ask Kevin, I suspect he would say, as he has in a number of interviews, that she was of mixed race, much like his former girlfriend, then wife.
she was mixed race, more like his former girlfriend and wife. If you ask Kevin Eastman, which Kevin is also a co-creator of the shit, so Kevin would say, well, yeah, she's based off of my ex-wife, which is fine if that's true. So now we have two arguments here. Now we have two. She's white because Peter says so, but if you ask Kevin, she's mixed race like his ex-wife, which is what Peter just suggested if you ask Kevin. So like, what the fuck are we doing here, y'all? All I'm doing now is proving that it doesn't really matter about her race. It just matters on which creator we gonna take the side of. Now, yes, some people says, well, if it's been depicted like this is how it is. I'm like, yeah, but she could have got through changes, or it just is what it is, how she was depicted. Now there's a cover. The cover just gives her a beautiful hairstyle and she got a perm, but that also cements of the time. Now, from the creator's mouth, that's God right there. Like Stan Lee could have said, well, Spider-Man was about to be Mexican, but I ain't make it Mexican. Like creators could have came out and said so many different things, but us as fans, we're looking at the final product because we're the fans. But from the creator's point of view, they gonna say some different shit, which I'm okay with that. So if Kevin says she was mixed race, Kevin says she's mixed race. If Peter says she's white or Irish, bam. Let's continue.
This disagreement would explain the inconsistency of April's appearance and provide a less nefarious explanation for her subsequent race change.
So her subsequent change is through miscommunication. We found that out. And depending on which creator you would ask, because each creator, which is Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, will both say, she's this. And then Kevin will say, I think she's this. And they will both be like, I don't really know. Because that's how they see the character to themselves. So even if she's light-skinned or has the red hair, fucking Kevin could be like, I think she's still mixed race. Peter would be like, but she looks a little more white and Irish. You sure? At this point, between both of them, it doesn't really fucking matter.
That said, improvements are slowly being made. April O'Neil's appearance was changed to better reflect her original design in 2018 single quote S Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles animated series.
Right.
Hopefully, comic books and cartoons will continue to diversify future characters and creators.
Honestly, through what the creators say, and I love it, is because it says if you ask either one of these dudes, they're going to give you different answers, which to me is perfectly fine. If you ask Peter, he going to tell you, well, ask Kevin. Kevin going to tell you, well, ask him because I feel like she's this, depending on which person you ask. And I feel like leaving it here is the best thing you're going to ever get. This is the best quote from the creators that I've found that perfectly lead it up to whoever you ask. It's this. Personally, I don't really care at this point. I just wanted to make kind of like a stab at motherfuckers to be like, well, this is it. The creator said this. We can't draw this line. It's their baby. Basically, to whichever creator, to Peter Lorre, it's, she was white Irish. To Kevin, she was mixed race. To the studios or anybody else, she's white. Perfectly, right? Honestly, it's up to interpretation through the creators. Us as fans, we're going to accept whatever version we get. We've seen her in the beginning, she's white, up until now that they're making two characters as black. I'm okay with this. Andre said it the best Black Nerd Comedy said the best. It doesn't matter what depiction April is in. We have multiverses and multiverses of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the creators are still around to this day to just give us a definitive answer. But even themselves, they can't do that because they see the character however they see her, fictional or not. Personally, if you're a fan and you say, well, she's white, fine, she's white. If you say she's black, well, there's only 2 versions, but yeah, she's black. If you say she's white, black, Irish, I'd be like, oh, whatever. It's up for interpretation at this point because, yes, she's definitively white. But the creators say, well, we want her to be this, we want her to be this. That's their baby. I'm not going to argue with these niggas because they already made the fucking shit and they're both still alive. So tell me what you think in the comments below. Do you care what color April O'Neil is? Do you not give a fuck? Are you going to see the new movie when it comes out? Let me know in the comments below. This is your boy. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon to be notified. And from me to you, remember to never give up, never surrender, and keep on grinding and mad fucking love, okay? And please, if you see this on the screen, that is to show you to shut the fuck up with the April O'Neil argument. It's up to the creators and how they feel. Yes, there's a final decision, but ultimately that don't really matter because they're still alive and they can depict, well, whatever version she's in, it's still their creation and they can say, well, she's this, or she's a mixed race woman. Perfectly fine. If you ask Kevin, she'll say mixed race. But let me know in the comments below. Peace, and I am out. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go.
Shit.
Getting on drum.
This is the last one.
You little niggas gonna stop acting like my shit ain't the grill.
This is the
Some
last
of you
one.
niggas get your front teeth for grills. And I ain't talking about the contract.
I ain't loving these fake hoes. Room smelling like 8 switches. Room service like 2K. NBA, I'm ballin', nigga. All them niggas fallin' like autumn, nigga. Talking shit, I saw them niggas. Now they daughter want a picture. Rough, ain't it? Fuck famous.
Yeah, man.
Niggas too real, got the most haters. Wrote a story, so Stephen Curry. How it feel to be golden.